Movies are back. And I don't mean that lightly. 2026 has genuinely been one of the most exciting years for film since before the pandemic. We've had horror movies breaking box office records, Pixar back on form, Ryan Gosling in space, and a Steven Spielberg sci-fi with an all-star cast. So today, I'm ranking the 7 best movies of 2026 so far. Films that critics loved, audiences went crazy for, and that you need to add to your watch list immediately. Let's get into it. Kicking things off at number 7, Toy Story 5. Look, nobody asked for another Toy Story after Part 3. That ending was perfect. But here we are, and honestly, Pixar pulled it off. This time, the spotlight shifts to Jessie, voiced by Joan Cusack, as the toys face a new enemy: tablets and smartphones. Kids just don't play with toys the way they used to, and this movie actually tackles that in a surprisingly emotional way. Directed by Andrew Stanton, the guy behind WALL-E and Finding Nemo, this one speaks to both kids and adults. Kids get the action and adventure, and parents prepare to ugly cry again. It's not perfect, and it doesn't top the original trilogy, but it's way better than it had any right to be. At number 6, Steven Spielberg's Disclosure Day. Spielberg is back with his first sci-fi film in years, and it feels like a closing statement on everything he's built in the genre. Emily Blunt leads an absolutely stacked cast, including Josh O'Connor, Colin Firth, and Coleman Domingo, in a story about a UFO. And that's about all we'll say to avoid spoilers. What makes this one special is that it feels like classic Spielberg. The wonder, the tension, the heart, it's all there. If you grew up on Close Encounters or E.T., this one is going to hit differently. It's not his best work, but it's a genuinely great film from one of cinema's all-time legends. Number 5, 28 Years Later, The Bone Temple. Now, the first 28 years later was divisive. People either loved it or hated it. But director Nia DaCosta came in and delivered what many critics are calling the strongest film in the franchise since the 2003 original. She turns down the slow burn grief of the first film and cranks up the gore and adrenaline, with an Iron Maiden soundtrack that somehow makes it even better. Sadly, this one bombed at the box office, probably because of the mixed response to the previous entry. But if you skipped it for that reason, don't. The audience scores tell the real story. This is a bona fide horror cult classic in the Mac. At number 4, The Furious. Some people are calling this the best martial arts film since The Raid, and honestly, that's not an overstatement. This is a relentless, perfectly choreographed action film with fight sequences that feel almost symphonic. Yes, the dialogue is clunky. Yes, some people think the dubbing sounds off. None of that matters once the action kicks in, because what happens on screen is pure cinematic joy. It's not trying to be deep, it's trying to be the most fun action movie of the year, and it succeeds completely. Number 3, Project Hail Mary, starring Ryan Gosling. This is the big blockbuster of the year, and it absolutely delivers. Based on Andy Weir's beloved sci-fi novel, it follows an astronaut who wakes up alone in space with no memory of how he got there, and has to figure out how to save Earth. It's earned nearly $680 million at the worldwide box office, and every dollar of that makes sense. It's stunning in IMAX, packed with practical effects, and has one of the most inventive film scores of the year. It's also surprisingly emotional for a movie about space travel and math. If you haven't seen this one yet, fix that immediately. At number 2, Backwards. Here's a story that's almost more interesting than the movie itself. In 2022, a teenage filmmaker named Kane Parsons uploaded a found footage horror short to YouTube. A24 saw it, acquired the rights, and handed him, still a teenager, the budget to make a full feature. That film is Backrooms, and it became the highest-grossing opening weekend debut ever for a 20-year-old director, pulling in $118 million worldwide on opening weekend. And it's genuinely terrifying. The found footage style is used masterfully, the atmosphere is suffocating, and Chiwetel Ejiofor delivers an incredible performance. This is horror at its best, built on dread and unease rather than cheap scares. This is the story of cinema's future, and it's a great movie on top of all that. And the #1 best movie of 2026 so far, Obsession. This film has become a genuine cultural phenomenon, a Blumhouse horror movie directed by Curry Barker, another young director who came up through YouTube. Obsession is based on the classic monkey's paw concept. A guy wishes for his crush to fall madly in love with him, and it goes horrifyingly, tragically wrong. It earned 80 times its budget at the box office, 80 times. It's one of the most profitable films ever made. But what makes it more than just a hit is the depth underneath the horror. It's a film about obsession, manipulation, and the dark side of desire. The more you think about it after watching, the more disturbing it gets. Critics are already calling it a landmark in horror filmmaking. If you see one movie from this list, make it this one. So that's my ranking of the best movies of 2026 so far. What do you think? Do you agree with the list? Is there a movie I missed that deserves a spot?